go. Lay down. Lay down, puppy. Hey everybody, my name is Miranda. I'm your host at My Way is the Highway, also the creator. For those of you who didn't watch the intro episode, I have never done this before. I'm not a professional. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm thinking that the stuff that I'm doing is good. And it feels like I'm making progress, which is awesome because I have no idea if I actually am or not. And it's kind of too late to turn around. Welcome to episode 2. This is the episode where I get to talk about why I decided to trade in my new car, brand new, straight off the lot, 2018 Subaru Crosstrek for a much older 2010 FJ Cruiser. Alrighty, so I'm sure everybody is probably wondering why I did that and who would be dumb enough to do that. I would be. And the reason why I did it is not as ridiculous as one may think. I decided to trade in my car because I needed something with more towing capacity. There's no M there. Capacity. I was shocked about the towing capacity that the Subaru Crosstrek actually had. I started looking into my options for what I could do with 1,500 pounds towing capacity with the Subaru. And what ended up happening was that by itself forced me to have to look into other options. So, what I'm going to be talking about today is why I decided to trade in my brand new 2018 Subaru Crosstrek with like 14,000 miles, which is a lot of miles for 2018, but I like road trips, for a 2010 Toyota FJ Cruiser. I decided to get my Subaru because I had always wanted a Subaru, and I figured, Subaru, outdoors, that's awesome, right? So when I did that, at the time I wasn't really planning on doing this big, extravagant, travel the world, or I guess the United States thing. And so it was perfect for what I needed it for, which was pretty much just driving around the city. I got it in March of 2018. And it was a bit pricier than I wanted it to be, but again, keep in mind, I really wanted that Subaru. The Subaru Crosstrek only has 1,500 pounds worth of tow capacity. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know anything about RVs or camper trailers or whatever, but most of them, even the tiny ones, weigh over about like 2,000 pounds. Now, there are some that are like 1,000 pounds or 1,300 pounds. 1,000 is not bad. It's really, really light, actually. But that's not calculating any stuff that you have inside. That's no water. That's nothing. What I decided to do was give myself other options. The way that I saw it, I had 3 options. Option 1, I keep the Subaru and look for trailers that are going to fit in its tow capacity range. Option 2, I get a motorhome and tow the Subaru behind it on a trailer. Option 3, I trade in the Subaru for a different car with better tow capacity and get a bigger trailer that's going to be better suited for myself and my puppy. Now, I went over every single one of these options. If anyone knows me, I'm a super, super meticulous researcher. It's pretty bad. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a meticulous researcher to do this. It definitely helps to want and the ability to do all this research to find out what you're really looking for as far as like what kind of trailer you'll get, what kind of car you'll get. I am very, very, very detailed in my searches whenever I'm looking for something to change my fucking life, right? You should be detailed in searching for something that's going to change your life. So I went over option 1, which was keeping the Subaru and getting a trailer that I was going to be able to tow. Now, the issue with that was I was limited down to literally 2 tiny trailers. Okay, they had things that I was looking for. I wanted a inside kitchenette, and I wanted a bed that like turned into a table so that I could do work on the road. So I went to Princess Craft RV, which is here in Austin, Texas, and was kind of looking at options, and I was talking to the salesman, and you know, he was just like, look, you have 2 options. 3 if you want to live in a box. But 2 options for what you're looking for as far as like the information that you gave me. You could do the new camp tag trailer, have the outdoor kitchenette, or you could do the A-liner pop-up. I think it was Scout. I don't know. But it was some type of A-liner, which, you know, if you know anything about A-liners, they are like a flat camper that the top pops up into an A, like this. Like this. Option number 2, getting a motorhome, towing my Subaru behind it. Now, this one ran into a lot of problems, and in that instance, I would have been able to keep the Subaru. Any kind of motorhome that I was ever gonna be able to afford was going to be like something built in the 80s. I would want to take out the inside of that thing and rip it to and then like restart, because they're all hideous. I don't know what happened in the 80s, but they should have just... There are some really good looking 80s interiors, but let me tell you that the 80s interiors in these motorhomes that was being sent to me, just, it literally made me like, I was like looking at these images and ripping up the carpet in my mind. Okay, that's what was happening. So I was like looking at that option. I was like, okay, well, if I did that, it'd be cool because I could drive, and then also just like, you know, pull over, and there my bed would be like just right on the inside of the same little vehicle thing that I'm in. Then I'd have my Subaru in the back in case like I wanted to go and drive around a city or something that I stopped at. The Subaru is an all-wheel drive vehicle, so it cannot be towed except for on a trailer. Really sucked because I didn't want to have to go and buy a trailer and then do all this stuff, and so the motorhome idea expired really quickly for me because I couldn't at all figure out a good enough reason to keep it as an option. That's just me, that's not everyone else out there. There are a lot of people that are traveling the United States right now in full-size motorhomes and RVs. That's awesome. I'm super jealous of those people. I could never do that. I started looking into option 3, which was getting another vehicle with bigger towing capacity. Now again, keep in mind this was option 3, the last option that I actually wanted to do. Again, I didn't want to get rid of the Subaru. So when I started looking into other vehicles, it started becoming more of a possibility. I looked at like Nissan Xterras. I started looking at trucks, you know, like bigger vehicles, anything with the tow capacity, really anything. And I was extremely surprised to find out how many vehicles actually don't have that great of tow capacity, even though you would think they would. So I did a bunch of research on that and then limited my options down to the Xterra or the Toyota FJ Cruiser. I did extreme research on the FJ, and for every FJ forum that I had ever came across, everyone always said extremely positive things, and I just wasn't seeing that in the Nissan forums that I was looking at. So what I decided to do was sorry about all of that. I have this pretty sketchy backdrop here, if that gives you guys any idea of what I'm working with. If you think I'm in a studio, you're crazy. You're crazy. When I was looking at the FJ, I looked at a lot of forums, and I determined that the FJ is a universally loved vehicle. And so I decided to look at an FJ Cruiser. I also looked at a Nissan Xterra and a Honda Pilot. I looked at the Nissan Xterra. I didn't test drive one. I just decided that I didn't hear a lot of very good things about the Nissan Xterra as far as like high mileage vehicles, and again, I wasn't going to be able to buy new, so I decided to go with something a little bit more practical. I decided to go with the FJ Cruiser. Now, I went and test drove it. At first I was like, I don't know if I like this. I drove it down the lot and I saw this Jeep. It was a Jeep Wrangler. The tires were really big. They were really like ripped, you know, like those tires that just look like they could crush anything. But I was like, oh, yeah, this Jeep is awesome. Like, it's got all the stuff I need. It's so rad. I really was trying to think practical about it. I was trying to think like, okay, I could take this and I could go super outdoorsy and go rip shit up. I kind of ran into an issue. Some guy who lived all the way in North Austin took the keys to the Jeep, and I wasn't able to test drive the Jeep, which actually ended up being like a really positive thing because I test drove the FJ instead. And as soon as I drove it, there was just something about it that I loved. It's this like kind of like a forest green color, and like it's got this gyroscope thing up on the top, and I don't know, man, it was just a comfortable ride. It felt really good. You know, I felt like I was in a tank, like I could take on the entire world. I decided that that was the vehicle that I wanted. I left that night because I'd kept my awesome friends, Shadi and David, there probably later than I should have. Then I decided to be in communication with them over like this next 2-week period. Okay, so 2 weeks period, I'm talking to them and I'm like, okay, I need to get approved for this. We ran the paperwork. There was no way in any chance I was going to get approved for that FJ through their finance companies. That was a kind of a tough thing to chew for me. I was like, but I like this car and I don't want to give up. So I decided to seek external finance through a federal credit union here in Austin. And that was kind of a really stressful period, but I got approved. It was not for the full amount that I wanted it to be. It was for $22,500, which when I traded in the Subaru, I had $4,000 worth of negative equity because it was a lease. A word to the wise, if you're ever wanting to trade in a lease, just make sure that you don't have tons of negative equity. I mean, if you do, you're just going to be paying it off anyways, but the FJ was $16,000. It's got these scratches on the side of it. They offered me $700 off of the total price to leave the scratches on there, which I didn't really want to do. I was like, that sucks, but it was cheaper in the immediate future. So I decided to do that, and then I have a couple of friends that are going to be helping me with the scratches. They're going to be helping me fix certain things that are just kind of like aesthetically whatever. I once watched a YouTube video of people telling me that what I should say with my YouTube video is to like point to a corner and be like, hey, there's this subscribe button down here. You should click it. I actually think it's probably on this side. You should click the subscribe button. And then there's also like a bell next to it. And you're supposed to say something really catchy like, ring the bell. You'll get notified of all the times that I post. Do that. That would be really cool if you did. That way you can keep up to date with me and you can keep on watching my journey as I go through going from living a normal life to living on the road. Again, if I know you, hello. If I don't know you, what up? If you have any questions, comments, likes, subscribe, just do the whole thing. There's a button down there with a belly thing. You should click that. Cool. Well, thank you everybody. I appreciate you for watching, and everyone have a fantastic evening or night or day, whatever it is for you. Bye.